Does your region determine your religion? Let's find out. For many people, their religion is often the one that they were raised with. It's typically the same faith held by their family, friends, neighbors, and virtually everyone else in their vicinity. For example, if you were born and raised in the Middle East, there is a higher likelihood of you being a Muslim. But if you were born in India, you would probably be a Hindu. And if you are a Christian, you are probably from the western part of the world. Now, the atheist looks at this and says that since your religion is determined by your cultural and regional upbringing, you cannot claim those beliefs to be universally true. Here's an example of this argument by biologist and prominent atheist Richard Dawkins.
You happen to have been brought up, I would presume, in the Christian faith. You know what it's like not to believe in a particular faith because you're not a Muslim, you're not a Hindu. Why aren't you a Hindu? Because you happen to have been brought up in America, not in India. If you'd been brought up in India, you'd be a Hindu. If you were brought up in Denmark in the time of the Vikings, you'd be believing in Wotan and Thor. If you were brought up in classical Greece, you'd be believing in Zeus. If you were brought up in Central Africa, you'd be believing in the great Juju up the mountain. There's no particular reason to pick on the Judeo-Christian God in which by the sheerest accident you happen to have been brought up.
But is this always true? If your religious beliefs are influenced by where you grew up and the experiences you have, then how can they be considered to be universal absolute truths? Before we answer this, make sure that you like our video, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss any of our videos. Also, don't forget to share our videos with your friends and family. We'd really appreciate it. Now, it's an undeniable fact that where we live and the culture we were raised in play a major role in shaping our religious beliefs. These factors often influence our thinking, our perspectives, and even exposes us to specific religious traditions and practices. So, does this influence undermine the validity of our religious truths? No, absolutely not. For one, just because our environment influences our beliefs doesn't mean those beliefs are inherently false. Many aspects of our lives, from language to moral values, are shaped by our surroundings, yet we still find truth and meaning in them. For example, do you believe in freedom of speech or an individual's freedom to access the internet? In many parts of the world, the answer is obviously yes. That's a no-brainer, right? I mean, how else are you watching this video? But if you were living in North Korea, the answer is probably no. Or what if someone is born in a region where honesty is highly valued? Does that make honesty any less true or valuable? Of course not. Just as cultural and societal influence doesn't negate the value of honesty or the basic rights of freedom for an individual, having religious beliefs influenced by the region and culture in which you were raised doesn't make them automatically false. This is what is called a genetic fallacy. Here the problem isn't what you believe, but how you came to believe it. And that shouldn't be an issue either. For example, imagine a child watching a cartoon that explains in a dramatic, childish way that the earth is so small that 1.3 million earths could fit inside the sun. This is a fact. Would it become less true just because he learnt it by watching cartoons? No, of course not. In the same way, just because you grew up in a Christian home where beliefs were taken for granted and not discussed or debated before believing them as truth, doesn't make it less true or inherently false. The truth of a religion should be determined by looking at the evidence and not by how someone came to believe that truth. Now, if something is true, it remains true regardless of who believes it or where they are. For example, the laws of physics are true whether you are in the Middle East, India, or the Western world. The same applies to religious truths. If Christianity is true, it remains true whether one is born in a predominantly Christian country or not. The geographical spread of a belief does not determine its truthfulness. Instead, we should examine the core tenets and evidence supporting the religion. The truth of a religion can resonate with individuals across various cultures and regions, regardless of their cultural and regional upbringing. So, while geography and culture can influence our initial beliefs, they do not determine the truth of those beliefs. Many people convert to different religions despite their cultural backgrounds, or even become atheists despite being raised in pretty religious homes. This shows that religious beliefs are not solely determined by one's environment, but by evidence provided by the religion, personal conviction, and individual experiences. You can't dismiss a belief just by questioning how someone came to hold it. So, what do you think about this? What other factors do you think could undermine the truth of religious beliefs? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, let us know by liking and subscribing to our channel. It really helps us a lot. Until next time.